Can't wait to see what we get done today. So as you guys know, we left off with test fitting this roof onto the car. But unfortunately, when I stored the car back in the garage, I left the roof inside of the car, and I thought I got all the ants out. And if you guys remember, there was a bunch of ants living in that roof. Ugh, I don't even want to know what those white sacks are. Holy fuck! Because now I see ants crawling around on everything. So what I want to do first is just get everything out of this car, air it out, all these little holes in here, because the last thing I want is ants to be living in here. This is literally like dust of my chassis. It's crazy to see, like, that is literally part of my car. Where it was. And as I'm scooping this up, I'm seeing ants like rushing away. This sandy material is probably like the perfect house for an ant. Alright, that's much better. Nice and clean. What I want to work on now is trying to get this trans tunnel to fit on here 100%. So as you can see, it has like a rough shape of where it needs to go, but remember the jig I made? I utilized the trans mount bolts. This is the trans mount, and the trans mount has 4 bolts. So the chassis does not really sit flush with the trans mount. So what I need to do now is trim away some of the extra metal that's on the half cut. So you can kind of see that this is layered, and this is also layered. So I need to make these fit better. I want to drill out the spot welds that are like on the edge of this mount. So then when I'm fitting the trans tunnel onto the car, I can slide the half cut in between like this upper layer and this bottom layer here. And that will allow an additional spot that I can weld for more rigidity. We got the chassis prepped. We got the trans tunnel prepped. Let's try it out. All right, looks like I can bolt it in now. All right, so with my weight on the trans tunnel, this seam looks really good. And then as for this side, this fits really nicely here now. This will probably need some self-tappers just to pull it into place a little better. This section's really nice. And on top of that, I thought ahead with this piece. So this is like the seatbelt retractor mount. This utilizes 3 bolt holes. So I can use the seatbelt mount as a mini jig, because it bolts to the trans tunnel and the chassis. So just like that, the trans tunnel is now mounted. That looks so good, oh my gosh. It's not even like self-tapped on there or welded. It's literally gonna be so easy. So at this point, the trans tunnel is basically good to go. So I'm gonna check that off my list. The next thing I wanted to do is check out the frame rail on the half cut. If you guys remember, in some of my previous videos, I had drilled out all the spot welds on the frame rail on this half cut. These are actually the original frame rails from my car. So we have the front one, the middle section I removed, and then we have the rear section. Now, I must have overlooked this, but the rear section has like a kink in it, and it's not sitting very flush. There's like a 1/2 inch gap between the half cut and the frame rail itself, and it just gets progressively worse. So what I want to do is cut this frame rail all the way back to where the half cut was cut. And let me show you what that frame rail looks like that I took off of the rear of this car. So here it is. And believe it or not, it is infested with ants. So I'll have to be an exterminator again today. Oh my god. But I wanted to tell you the reason I didn't use this frame rail to begin with is because the front of it is like super kinked. And this is like where the subframe would mount. And it's literally kinked in the center of the subframe studs. I was like, all right, we'll just take this one off and use mine, because mine wasn't too bad, and this one actually is beat up all along the bottom here as well. But the rear has no issues at all. So what I want to do now is take off the rear frame rail from the midsection and the front section of the frame rail. I'm so happy there's no rust on this. So it turns out all of my parts got infested with ants, even the radiator. Oh my gosh. Even the door. It just needs a door. Now we need to get the half cut off of the car and determine where I want to cut that frame rail. And then also, while it's off, I'll be able to test fit this new one. Wow, yeah, you can really see that kink now. I don't know how I missed that. This is why I value test fitting all of these parts on and off the car many times, because you really can't be too sure, especially with something like this. If I had started welding everything back together before I knew about this, it would have been a lot harder to do this repair versus now when I'm able to take off this whole side of the car and have access to this. Just take your time and do it right. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. And that's what I'm trying to do here. I just now noticed this. My chassis is a 89 chassis, but titled is a 90. This frame came off of a 93 or 92, which, as you guys know, that's the dual cam KA chassis, which has a shark nose front. This car came with a single cam KA with a pig nose front, but just wanted to specify that these are two different chassis years. This is what is inside of the frame rail. I haven't touched anything inside of here on the 89-90 chassis. This, the dual cam chassis, has an entire reinforcement plate in here. You see that? And it's not even on this one. Just have this tiny little piece here for that subframe extension. But look at how much extra like reinforcement this one gets. So that's kind of interesting. Did you guys know that? I had no idea. Now I'm also wondering if the front frame rails are also reinforced just like this one. Now right now I'm trying to decide where I want to trim each frame rail back. With them sitting inside of each other, lined up, the subframe to frame rail clearance is really small here, and on my subframe it'll be even smaller of a gap because I'm running raised subframe bushings, which will actually bring the subframe higher up. So I need to account for that when I'm gonna be cutting and welding additional metal on top of the frame rail, because the last thing you want is for your subframe to be hitting your frame rail. I can either chop it all the way back here, or what I think I'm gonna do is probably cut it right here, because I still have access to the top there. I'll be able to get a nice clean cut on that, and also it'll be in this little corner here, so I know for a fact we'll at least have some space for an overlap weld. So since this 91 and up chassis has a reinforcement plate on the inside, that really works for our advantage here, because I don't need to worry about trying to make a new plate for this, for like matching up a new frame rail. I can literally just use this one. So this is the cut line that I need the actual frame rail distance to be at, but I'm gonna actually cut it probably like 1.5 inches farther out, because then it'll cut this inner plate as well. And then once it cuts that much, what I want to do is drill out the spot welds so that this inner piece will overlap and it'll fit snug into the next frame rail that's on the chassis. Luckily there's only 3 spot welds on here, so that's not so bad. I already drilled the pilot hole, so now we'll just use the spot weld drill bit to get these 3 out. Alright, the 3 outer ones are drilled out. Now we need to cut along this blue line here very carefully so that I don't grind off the inner metal piece. Sweet! I accidentally cut it a little bit, but that's alright, I can weld that back together. It's gonna work out nice. I want to test fit this now. That like looks perfect. Although I didn't make any measurements yet, but just by looking at this, you can see the shape that it needs to fit. We're trying to match up this shape line right here. Yeah, that's super good. Oh, yes. That's so satisfying. So now that this is looking beautiful, I'm gonna prep all this metal so that it can be welded. We got both of these rails prepped now. Something I forgot to do is prep the bottom of this frame rail. And I think instead of laying on the floor to do it, I'll just take it off the car because that'll be much easier. Wow, so crazy to see half of the car missing. So now that I think about it, this is actually a pretty accurate description of what is still the original car. When people ask me how much of the original car is left, all I have to say is enough. So now we need to get all of this to bare metal. While I'm lining up all these major parts on the car, getting it ready to be welded, I'm starting to think about how I can secure the firewall in a way that I'll like know for sure that it's in the right spot. So I'm gonna mount the firewall on the car and see if I can determine something. Another beautiful day at the junkyard. So we're here trying to find some manual swap parts for Seth's new hatch. Oh yeah.
I'm so happy.
What do you want to do first?
Manual swap. It is auto.
And we have 30 minutes because they close in 30 minutes. We don't even know if there's any Civic hatches here or any manual Civics. See what we can find. Not seeing any so far. Ooh, an EG.
Intake.
Yeah, it's got a cold air intake. Auto. Oh well.
We've got coils.
Coils?
Yeah.
Is this an EK?
Yeah. Auto.
Dang, it's auto. Guess we're gonna keep looking. The thing is already stripped. Oh, is this an EK?
Oh. Let's see.
Is this to hide something, or is this like come back for this one?
Maybe
no,
distributor.
It's auto. Dang. Ooh, this G37 has a lip on it. That's pretty sick. Oh, is this a Miata?
This thing's toast.
Dang.
It's just cams. And it's manual.
Manual still has a transit too. Wow. Nice blue. There we go. There's another one. Another automatic. This one has a hat on it. I don't know what logo that is. Oh, is this one too? Another auto? Auto, auto, auto. Huh, there's a turbo just chilling right here.
Turbo swap.
It's so random. Probably came off of this Saab? BMW? I don't know.
I don't know, some BS.
Prelude. Whoa! Someone took a literal 1/4 quarter of this car. Hey, KA. Single cam. Dang, that thing is stripped. Oh, here's another one. Automatic. We are not having much luck right now. Oh, there's one right there, the green one. Are you manual?
Please, I'm begging you. Auto.
Auto. Dang it. It's got AC though. We went through all the import rows, found all the Civics we could find, and they were all automatic. So I guess we're gonna have to check another yard. Thank you for your business.